Welcome to another episode of The Wealth Defenders with Terry Cox. He's the man who can definitely help you get your money right. And that's what we do here on this program. We help people get their money right. Consumer advocate Bruce Rosenblum here with you as well. Terry, it's great to be here with you again.
It's good to see you, Bruce.
Yes,
How's
sir.
everything?
Just, these are kind of the doldrum months. And I was thinking to myself, man, what can I talk about with Terry? What fun things have I done lately? And I'm like, I haven't done much. I've been working, and trying to keep my money right, of course. Mm-hmm. But that includes, kind of living frugally. So I've been living frugally lately. But what about you? Have you done anything interesting lately?
Well, I'm living frugally, but I think the last thing that I did I tell you about our off-road trip to Utah, Moab, Utah?
I don't think we covered this, no.
Oh, we didn't? Okay. So some time ago, I picked up a Ford Bronco, the Sport.
The new one.
The new one, yeah. Yeah,
Ooh,
I really
okay.
like it. The little Sport, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, as it turns out, if you buy a Bronco, Ford has these off-road courses that they'll let you go and drive on for a day. So,
really?
Yeah. So I forget, so there's 4 other locations besides Utah, but the other 4 locations are all man-made.
Yeah.
Well, you go up to Moab, and it's basically their backyard. So the hotel that we stayed at had a Bronco museum, so you got to see some of the vintage Broncos. Okay. And then they took us out. I think there were 8 vehicles in our group. We convoyed out of the hotel. We had a guide. And took us out in the middle of the desert, and the nice thing was we didn't have to take our vehicles out. They had vehicles of their own for us to take out, but they showed us and we did some rock climbing, we did some, driving through sand and some crazy stuff, and they had us out for about 6 hours, so that was pretty cool.
This is awesome. So you can just drive these Broncos off road and just go crazy.
Just go crazy, absolutely.
That sounds like so much fun. I mean, I like four-wheelers. I mean, anything with a motor and 4 wheels is generally pretty fun. But to be out there in the Utah and the Badlands and just to open the throttle up, ooh, that sounds like a blast. Yeah,
if you haven't had the opportunity, I would highly encourage that one. It's a good time.
Moab, Utah. In a previous life, I was a wildland firefighter, and
really?
I was out in Colorado, yes, and one of my crewmates, we had a little some downtime. One of my crewmates went to Moab, and I'd never been, and he came back. He said, "Man, you can do whatever you want to do. You can do it in Moab. They've got the rock climbing, they got the BMX, they've got everything, all the outdoor stuff, all the X Games, extreme sports kind of stuff. It's in Moab, and I guess that checks out, huh?"
Oh, not only is it beautiful, but anything you can dream of. You can do some skydiving, you can do some zip lining. Yeah, it's a lot of fun up there.
Oh boy, skydiving. We got to talk about that on the show at some point, because that's I did that in a previous life too. I was licensed at one point, and I do miss that. It's a thrill. But all these cool things you can do. These are things and feelings that you want to have in retirement. The feeling of freedom, and that's why today on the program, we're talking about the baby boomers. This is a nice segue, by the way. It's a very nice seg. Let's dip into what we're talking about. The baby boomers here. They are having to deal with serious issues. As you know, Terry, the pension is going the way of the dodo. We talked about this in the last show. And, with that in mind, it seems like a lot of the statistics have changed too. What can you tell us? What can you tell us about this?
Well, a number of years ago, employers realized that they had people that had been employees who are now retired, who have been in retirement longer than they were actually employed. So, so it doesn't take long for employers to figure out, hey, we're on the wrong side of this. So what they did was they started a shift, and they started moving out of the traditional pension plans and moving into the 401k plans.
Okay.
Which now shifted the burden of saving for retirement onto the employee. So now not only does the employee have to find a good job, pay his bills day to day, now he also has to save for retirement. And when they first started doing this, they gave employees a choice. And the way they listed them on the human resources page was, do you want to continue with the traditional pension, or would you like to go with the 401k plan? Well, what they were finding was everybody was just checking the top box. And they said, well, what happens if we change the boxes? So they shifted the boxes and they put the 401k plan number 1 and the pension number 2, and people just kept checking the top box.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, a little subtle, right? But that had a big shift from the pensions to the 401k plans. So, which that doesn't help things, right? Especially if you're really not aware, because when the 401k plans were new, they were painted in this great light. Oh yeah, you could ultimately have more money, and you could ultimately have more money if you managed the investments correctly, right?
Sure.
But most people don't have time for that. They don't. When you get your human resources package and there's like 25 mutual funds to choose from,
Yeah, right.
and there's nobody there to talk to you about it, that's a little bit of a challenge. But that's what happened. So employers started shifting the burden back onto the employees. So that's how that all started. And now that's where we are. There's hardly any pensions floating around there anymore. Everybody's got a 401k plan, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, to me, just speaking personally, to me, this is an American tragedy, because it seemed like in the past, your employer would go to some length to take care of you, to make sure that you were okay, because you were providing them a service. You were giving them many, many years of your life. But now, as tragic as it is, we got to face reality. The reality is you're generally on your own for retirement. And the company might contribute a bit to your accounts, but you have to make sure you're the captain of your own ship when it comes to your financial future. And that's a sobering reality that we got to deal with right now, huh?
Yeah, and as sobering as that is, I don't want to dwell on what has happened, but let's figure out how we can take what we've got and make it better. Right.
Right.
So that's where financial professionals can really step in and say, hey, if you're not getting the help that you need at work, to review your 401k plans, hire us. If you don't want to work with us, every day, hire us for one meeting a year to review your 401k plan, just to make sure that your investments haven't changed. One of the big things that we're seeing now in the 401k plans is there's been so many options to choose from that a lot of these mutual fund companies are creating target date funds, which means, let's say you were starting your job today and it's 2025, and you're going to work for 30 years. You could pick a target date that's a 2060.
Okay.
So it's already pre-marked for you. So today, that portfolio is pretty aggressive. It's probably 100% stocks. And as time goes by, it's going to self-correct and start adding bonds in there over time. And then by the time you get to 2050, 2055, 30 years from now, it's going to be a very conservative portfolio, which helps ensure that you're not giving something away at the end by not making adjustments as you go along.
Right, because you want less risk as you go on, because if you lose more later on, there's no time to make that up.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, that's why those have become so popular, because people don't realize that they could actually just work with an advisor once or twice a year, and they're like, I don't even want to deal with it. Just put me in a target date fund and we'll be good.
Right. Now, there's a data point that got slid across my desk before we started the program here. It says roughly half of baby boomers have saved $250,000 for retirement, and they're planning to rely mostly on Social Security. Does that track with what you've seen? Are you seeing a lot of clients that are in the baby boomer generation, and they have just enough, and they're thinking that Social Security is going to be it for them?
That's probably an accurate number, because from what I've seen, it's kind of a mixed bag. Some people have done very well. Some, they've done okay. But, there's a lot of baby boomers that are going to be retiring over the next 5 to 10 years. That's going to be additional stress on the Social Security Trust.
Right. Yeah.
So there's rumors going around that if the government doesn't step in and fix this, and there's ways that they could fix this if they wanted to, that in 10 years there could be a cut of up to 25% across the board for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, you start thinking about that and you're thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to rely on. And I don't have a heck of a lot saved for retirement. What's a 25% cut 10 years into your retirement going to do to you?
Oh, good Lord. It would send a lot of people back to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, so many Americans, they're, up against the wall these days with the way that inflation is and prices and everything else. Hopefully things are gonna ride it. The ship's gonna right itself. But man, it's just critical. It seems to have that plan right now because apparently 20%. Again, another data point that got on my desk here. 20% of those 50 and older have no retirement plan. Nothing.
At that point, there's going to have to be some adjustments made, right? Somewhere, sure. Whether it's downsizing, maybe moving, to another state where the cost of living is less expensive.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that come into play at that point. But, looking at some of these numbers that we were talking about prior to the show, I have a client that is almost exactly in this predicament. And we talked yesterday, as a matter of fact. Okay. So this person, house is paid for. It's been paid for a little bit.
That's
about
good.
about a $200,000 savings, Social Security, and a small pension. The bills are limited, so not a lot of bills coming in. Mm-hmm. However, this person is now living by themselves. They're in their mid-70s and they're in declining health. They had to they're not ready for a long-term care facility, but a full-time caregiver has now moved into the house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Sure.
Suddenly, there's an additional $5,000 a month expense.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one coming, right? So here's an unexpected scenario for someone. So $5,000 a month, you play that out for a year, that's $60,000. If you do that 3 years, that's $180,000. That's almost the entire nest egg. So that's why it is. And I don't want to be a downer on this show, but what you want to be aware of is these unforeseen circumstances that can happen. And let's find a way to get in front of that if we can. That if a worst case scenario happens, you still have dignity in your life, and you don't have to rely on other people or other programs.
Yeah, right. These are real issues that really have the possibility of cropping up for many, many people that are watching the show. And with that in mind, I've got to ask you while we wind down here, what's the takeaway here? How can people proactively approach all this stuff and handle these hurdles?
Well, the first thing we have to do is have a conversation and find out where you're at and what your situation is. Because there's things out there that you can invest in and own, securities that will either pay you dividends, they'll pay you income. In some cases, it can be tax-free income. In some cases, you can create your own personal pension with a fixed annuity to guarantee you some income that you're not going to outlive. But yeah, the very first thing that we need to start with is the conversation, and let's find out where you are now. What is the situation, and what can we do to fix it?
So personal pensions sounds like something I would want to pursue because, the idea of sacrificing your quality of life later on, that's you don't want to go backwards in lifestyle. So
right. So we get one shot at this. Everybody's running their race. Our race starts at a different time. It's going to end at a different time, but all of the same tools are available for all of us. So and we can help plug you in to the tools that are going to, help prevent some of that or help you offset some of that.
Again, me personally, that sounds good to me. And if it sounds good to you too out there, we're going to put some information on the screen here. Make sure that you give Terry a call. No cost, no obligation financial reviews. They're available to you. Just got to pick up that phone or email. All forms of communication, Terry accepts them all. And Terry, once again, I want to thank you for dropping the knowledge on me because every time I talk to you, I feel better prepared for getting my own money right. So thank you.
Well, that's great. I'm glad we're able to help.
Yes, sir. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up here. Anything you want to tell the people before we close today?
We set aside some appointments every week for our listeners and our viewers. If you want to take advantage of the no cost, the no obligation conversation, give us a call. If you have any thoughts, any questions, any doubts, give us a call and let's get you on a path and make sure that you're on that right road.
That's right. Get on that path. No time like the present. Information on the screen. That's all for today, ladies and gentlemen. For Terry Cox, this is Bruce Rosenblum signing out. We'll see you on the next episode. This is The Wealth Defenders.